What's going on YouTube? Flashy here and welcome back to another tier list video. Today, we're going to be ranking all 22 Halo Infinite weapons. This is going to be a fun one because I feel like Halo has a very broad spectrum of weapons, some being really good and some being not so good. So we're going to dive into it today. And the first one we're going to start with is one of my all-time favorite weapons in any video game, and that is going to be the Energy Sword. And I have to say it, Energy Sword is S tier. There's a little bit of a caveat here in the first one. If you have Energy Sword with a grapple hook, S+. I don't have S+ on this list, but if you have that, it's S+. If not, it's just S. The Energy Sword in this game is so good. It is so lethal, especially with, if you're not playing in ranked and you're just playing like quick play or something, crouching with the Energy Sword so you're not on radar is unbelievable. Nobody knows you're coming. The lunge is so far in this game, and the Energy Sword is just, it's an absolute game changer. That's really what it comes down to. I feel like the S tier weapons are going to be like the game changer weapons. Like if you're down in a game and your team picks up this weapon in S tier, you're going to come back. Or if you're up in a game and your team picks it up, you're going to win no matter what. Like that's what the S tier is going to be in this video. Just the true game defying or match defying weapons. And Energy Sword is right up there. If there's someone with an Energy Sword running around, you better target him with your whole team because they're going to take you down quick. And now let's go to the other side. I'm going to kind of jump around a little bit at the beginning here, just so we're not going in order. That's a little boring. So we're going to be jumping around a little bit as I'm looking. I want to find something that's going to be an F tier, and I think I'm looking at it right now. I think it's going to be the Disruptor Pistol. Now, granted, a lot of this might change. The game is still very new. It's only like 3 weeks old at this point. Still very new, still a lot to figure out, a lot of new weapons, a lot of new time to kill, shield, understanding the maps and stuff like that. So this might change, but as of right now, I think the Disruptor Pistol is F because every time I have this thing, I can't find a good use for it. I really can't. I do think that the actual like electric projectile can bounce and chain between Spartans if they're close enough, but even then, like it doesn't do that much damage. I've never seen any crazy double kills with the Disruptor chaining lightning or anything like that. If you want to chain lightning between enemy Spartans, you got to use the Dynamo Grenade. That thing is absolutely insane. We don't have the grenades on this list, unfortunately. I mean, all grenades are pretty much S tier, to be honest, but yeah, I've never seen much with the Disruptor chaining lightning or doing much. Like I've gotten kills with it, but definitely not my first choice and is probably going to be my last choice. And now let's go somewhere right in the middle, right on B tier. I think I'm just going to go with the classic assault rifle in B. I mean, it doesn't do anything really well. It doesn't do anything really bad. You can work it pretty well at close range. At long range, you can start to pepper some people. It kind of just does its job. It's there. It exists. If you're playing quick play, that's what you're starting with. So I think it works. It is probably one of my favorite ARs that's been in Halo. I mean, usually I just drop the AR right away. Every Halo game I've ever played, AR, not using it. But in this game, you know, I definitely feel comfortable with it to the point where like you could probably kill some people with it. It's really good if you combine it with something else. Like if you're using it to just melt somebody's shield real quick, and then you switch to like your Magnum for a headshot or something, that's when it's really good. But on its own, you know, it's there. It exists and it does damage. Put it in B. It's got a decent sized clip as well, so you can really hold down that trigger. So I think I'm going to put it in B. All right, now let's start going in order because we've kind of hit the spectrum, right? We've hit this S, the mid, and the F. Now let's just go in order. We're starting with the BR. I got to say it, man. BR is S tier all day. This is super biased. BR is one of my favorite weapons in video game history. It's crazy, man. Halo has a lot of like my favorite all-time weapons. It's kind of nuts. They got some iconic weapons, but the BR, so classic. And in this game, it is just so good. 4 bursts. If you hit all your shots, you can take an enemy down. And 4 bursts is pretty quick in Halo Infinite because this game has a very long time to kill, as a lot of you probably know by now. It's just so reliable. Max range, close range. Got to use it to melee and then get a burst off on somebody and kill them real quick. Again, that 4 burst is absolutely insane. It just does so much damage anywhere you are on the map. Definitely the go-to weapon. Like when you're running around ranked, you know if someone's good with the BR because they are just getting headshots and they're just knocking everybody out. I got to put BR in S tier. Even when you're playing quick play and you pick up that BR and everybody's running around with like an AR or a Magnum or something, that BR is just taking every health bar out. And it's got to be in the S tier, man. It's always been such a good Halo gun. And in Halo Infinite, the theme continues because that is an S tier weapon. The BR is just so good. And I love playing ranked just because you start with the BR. Next up, this is tough. We got the Bulldog shotgun. Now, usually I would put the shotgun in S tier for any Halo game, but this is probably one of the first times. I didn't play too much Halo 5. I can't really remember Halo 4 that much. But the shotgun, I mean, classic shotgun melee, you're taking everybody out. You pick up the shotgun, you're probably going to win that gunfight. But in this game, it's a little bit different. It still does have that like shoot melee mentality, but I find myself using it at like a little bit, not super close range, like barrel busting range, but like a little bit of space in between you and the enemy. and you take a few shots with that, and you can kind of take out their shields pretty quick. I don't think it's... I want to put it in C. I'm like teetering between C and B because it is extremely situational. Granted, the maps are small, but every time I use it, I am going to put it in B. You know what? I'm going to put it in B. Yesterday, I was using it, and I was actually kind of popping off of it. I think I was doing Fiesta challenges, and I kept getting the shotgun over and over in my spawn. And I was like, you know what? This thing is actually not too bad. If I had a B minus or a C plus, it would probably be in one of those. But again, teetering in between that B and C. But if you're really good with it and you understand the projectile and the time it takes to get to the enemy, I think you can make the shotgun a pretty lethal weapon. And next up, we have what looks to be the Cinder Shot. I hope I get some of these right. Some of these, like, the gun is cut off, but we have... I'm assuming this is going to be the Cinder Shot. I want to put the Cinder Shot in S. I'm very tempted to put it in S because I think it's one of the best guns in the game once you start to learn how to use it. I think I'm going to go A, though, just because I've blown myself up with this thing a lot. I'm a little mad because I've blown myself up with the Cinder Shot on, like, sick double kills and triple kills. But this thing, if you can learn how to use it, it is an absolute beast, man. This gun is so good. If you can get those bounces down, like if there's an enemy in front of you and you just skip it right on the ground in front of them and it bounces up and blows up in their face, like, it is unbelievable. It is a 2-shot. Both projectiles have to hit 2-shot. But what's crazy about the Cinder Shot, if you guys don't know, is it pulls the enemy in. Kind of like, I don't know, if you ever played Apex, like Horizon's ult pulls you in. That's kind of what the projectiles in the Cinder Shot do while exploding. So if you shoot one at an enemy, it'll like blow up, do a little damage to them. It'll pull them in, shoot another Cinder Shot in the same angle, like bounce it off the ground or off the wall, right where it's pulling them in. That's going to blow up right on them and take them out. It's like, it is the craziest weapon. A huge learning curve, definitely. But if you can figure out those bounces and how it explodes, man, the Cinder Shot is lethal. And now we got the Commando. So this thing, I want to put it in B. It's one of those weapons that's just there. It's reliable. It'll get the job done. But as of right now, I think I'm going to put it in C tier because it's just a little too much right now. A little too much recoil, a little too much bloom. You know, you really want to just like lay on the trigger when you're shooting it, and it just doesn't work out. I feel like it never works. If I'm going up against a BR or even like a Magnum and I'm using this Commando, I feel like I'm going to lose. I just feel like against shields, it doesn't do that much damage. If you take the shield out and you get that single shot headshot kill, Commando can be pretty nasty because it is really accurate. But once you got shield on shield and it's just max health fights, I don't see it doing much, man. Granted, though, I do feel like there's going to be some of you guys watching this that are nasty with the Commando and you're going to disagree with me. But that's why I'm saying I think this one's going to change. I think if I do another updated Halo Infinite tier list in a couple of months, I feel I'm going to bump the Commando up. I feel like people just need a little bit more time to understand how to use it, manage the recoil, manage the bloom, and get that damage down. All right, next up on the list is the Gravity Hammer. I feel like the Gravity Hammer is probably going to be a B. Really strong weapon, really reliable. The only problem is, how many times have you guys died when you have the Gravity Hammer and you're just sprinting at somebody? Granted, Gravity Hammer with like the thrust utility probably bumps it up to an A because that makes it disgusting. But when you're just running with the Gravity Hammer and you're running at that enemy and they're just laying BR shots into you, you're not going to make it to them. You're probably going to die. When the Gravity Hammer works, it works really, really well. I would put it in a B+. We do not have B+ on this list. So it's going to be in a B. Here, I'll do this. I'll sneak it right up here, right at the top of B, because I think it's a really, really solid weapon. It can do some serious damage and definitely change the momentum of some games. But I just feel like you got to be really situational with it. Now we're going into the Banished Shotgun, I believe it is, which is the Heat Wave. I don't know, man. This thing works. The gun works. I think I'm going to put it at a high C because it's just, I don't know, man. The bouncing of it, I've never really gotten anything crazy with the bouncing of the projectiles. It's kind of just like a regular shotgun. It shoots a really long horizontal spread, or you could make it a vertical spread, but I've never hit anybody with that vertical spread. I always keep it horizontal. It does work pretty well, especially if there's like a group of them, a group of enemies. You can shoot it in there, help your teammate out, get those shields down a little bit. Your teammates start to hit them with some BR shots or something, and it takes them out. It's pretty good for assists. I don't know, if you're going up like 1v1, I don't know, maybe like a low B, but I think I'm going to keep it in C because it's not my first choice, not my last choice like the Disruptor, but it's definitely down there on the list. And then we have the Hydra. So this is an interesting weapon, man. I did not like this weapon at all until I found the alternate fire method. And the alternate fire locks on. So you would think that's for vehicles. You can lock on to enemy Spartans, and that makes this thing disgusting. I'm going to put it at a very low B, but it's strictly because of the alternate fire lock-on method. Because it has a huge clip. You lock onto an enemy, they stay locked on. And if you can kind of just control where that initial fire is going, because it's not going to lock on to the point where it's like curving around like Matrix and doing crazy stuff. If you can get it somewhere in the vicinity of the lock-on enemy and keep them in an open area and shoot like 3 Hydra shots at them, you can deal some serious damage and do really well, especially if like they're capturing a point or something. You lock on from a distance and you just lay those shots. I'm going to put it at a very low B. It's not quite C, not quite on par with like the other B, but that lock-on, it does some serious work and it's really, really good when it can be. But now, the launcher that actually matters. And this one's going to be controversial, which I didn't think would be, because as soon as this game came out, I was like, this is the best gun in the game. There's nothing else to say, but I've been seeing a lot of stuff like on Twitter, and some friends that I play with tell me that they absolutely despise this weapon and think it's the worst rocket launcher in Halo. But for me, man, I'm going S tier, best weapon in the game, no questions asked, the Spanker. This thing spanks enemy Spartans. Like that, I understand why they named it that. I've gotten so many triple kills, so many overkills. When the Spanker is up, whatever team has it, they're gonna win. If that person's getting kills with it, if you have the Spanker, you win the fight. I do feel like there's a bit of a learning curve on where to shoot it, because it does a lot of damage in a small area and then not a lot of damage like in that extended area. But once you get it down, rocket launcher in this game is so good. It does not lock onto vehicles, if I'm not mistaken. There's no more locking on the vehicles for it. In terms of anti-Spartan, anti-infantry, this thing is crazy, man. Again, so many triple kills, overkills, literally swinging the momentum of a match just because our team was able to pick up the Spanker. You have this in your hands, your team is gonna do some damage. Now, when the game first came out, I thought this was one of the worst guns in the game. Like, I would have put this bottom F tier, bottom of the barrel, but it's actually a 3-shot kill, which is extremely fast in this game. It's kind of like a slug shotgun, if you guys have ever played a game with a slug shotgun in it, but it's a slug hand cannon pistol thing. We have the Mauler. Now, part of me is saying like high C, like the highest of C+. Another part of me is saying end of B, because dude, that 3-shot is so good, man. The 3-shot is so underrated. I want to put it at like a far B. Like, if I could stick it right here, I'd put it here, but I think it's a B because that 3-shot is so good. It's just 2 shots to the body, 1 to the dome, if I'm not mistaken, and you got yourself a kill with the Mauler. It kills super fast. Maybe C+, man. I don't know. I feel like it's not quite on par with like the gravity hammer. I'm gonna put it at C. Yeah, it's definitely not on par with the gravity hammer, but don't let it fool you. It might be a C, but that 3-shot is really good, man. You gotta get good with it and like understand the projectile and things like that. But once you figure out the Mauler, you can do some serious work with this thing. Granted, you're only killing 1 enemy at a time. It's nothing crazy like the launcher or the sword, but I think the Mauler works if you can make it work. Next up, we have old reliable, the Sidekick, instant A. The Sidekick is so good. It's old reliable. It would be an S if it had a little bit bigger of a clip, but if it had a little bit bigger of a clip, it would be broken. Like, the Magnum in this game is so good. It's always one of my favorite things to look for, is how is the Magnum in a Halo game. Granted, I don't think we'll ever have anything like Halo 1 Magnum ever again, but this one does a really, really good job. I love using this thing. Close range, even long range. It's just the way it shoots. If you can nail down the cadence of the Magnum, it is so good. And it's a 1-shot headshot. It is a bullet weapon, of course. So if you break their shields, it's a 1-shot headshot. You can get really fast kills. You're probably gonna have to end up reloading after 1. It does really, really well, especially when paired. Like, if you're playing quick play, if you pair the assault rifle and the Magnum together, you can use either one, whether you're using the assault rifle to take down their shield, then use the Magnum to get that 1-shot headshot, or use their Magnum to get down their shield, and then you use the AR to clean them up. Those two in tandem work really well together, but just on its own, the Magnum is great. I actually put out a video seeing if we could win a game only using the Sidekick. I'll link that up right there. And that was a really fun one. That kind of shows the power of this Sidekick in this game, and I think it's really good. It's all reliable, man. As soon as I spawn in, if I'm not playing ranked, I switch to the Magnum, and that's all I'm running around with. When I pick up a power weapon, I'm dropping the AR. I'm always keeping the Magnum by my side. And here we have another old reliable. We got the Needler. That's going to go into A. Needler is going to go to A. A+, top of the top A. It's just not quite an S, just because the long range isn't good enough. Like, the long range is really, really bad on it. Even the medium range. Granted, I do have a sword where it's like, what long range is that? But what the sword does, it does so well that it's an S. It's just a complete game changer. But the Needler, you're winning that 1v1 fight. You're coming up on someone, you got them close enough to where your reticle turns red, and those needles are going to start tracking them. Within half of that clip, they're going to explode into pink mist. You got yourself a kill. I think the Needler is so good, especially in this game. You got really small maps, so if you're playing something like Strongholds, you're running into the B flag or something, you got a Needler, you're probably going to take over that flag. Really, really solid weapon. Doesn't excel anywhere except for close range, but man, if you got the Needler in close range, you're winning that. And then we have an interesting one. So this is actually the shotgun of this game. I know the Bulldog is the actual shotgun, but I think the plasma pistol is the actual shotgun in this game. If you just walk around holding it fully charged, walk up to someone point blank, let that thing rip, and as soon as you shoot that plasma charged up shot, you melee, it's an instant kill right away. Because that takes out their whole shield. You do the melee, they're already dead. So this is actually the shotgun of Halo Infinite. It's the plasma pistol. Again, the plasma pistol does what it needs to do really well, and it does everything else really bad. What it does really well is taking out the shield, and then you switch weapons, and that's when you clean up the kill when the shields are down. So like if you're running plasma pistol and BR or plasma pistol Magnum, you just charge it up, take out the shield, switch weapons right away, take that one-shot headshot, and you're good to go. You're moving on to the next fight. Or you walk around a corner with it fully charged, you let it rip, and you melee, and you got yourself a little plasma pistol shotgun. But at everything else, it doesn't do anything. Don't even try to single shot this thing like a pistol and get a kill. I've seen one. I have dozens and dozens of hours in Halo Infinite. I've seen one plasma pistol actual kill where they're like shooting a single fire like a pistol. Just one. But when you need the plasma pistol to do what it needs to do, it works well. Then we have the pulse carbine. So this gun is really, really good. But the fact that it has shoots such slow projectiles makes it really, really a problem. It's only a 2 burst. So it shoots 4 projectiles at a time. And it takes 8 projectiles to kill a Spartan from full health. So it's only 2 full bursts, which is a lot faster than the BR. But the thing about this is the projectiles move so slow. And people in this game are already getting really good at strafing back and forth while shooting. So it's going to be impossible because you're going to be chasing this person. The projectiles aren't going to catch up. Maybe 1 or 2 will hit them. They'll like walk into it as they're strafing. I'm going to put this as a C. I would have put it at an F, but the fact that it's really just a 2 burst kill is kind of nuts. Again, it's a really fast time to kill. But it's just people strafe so much. And there's so much movement. And you got thrusters and grapple hooks and all this crazy stuff going on. So it's really hard to hit anybody with this thing. But if you can hit them, it deals some good damage. So not an F tier, but somewhere in the high C's. Next up on our list is the Ravager, I believe this is called. So this is like the charge up shotgun, shoots bursts. I don't know how I feel about this thing, man. I want to put it in, I would probably put it in F, but it does one thing. I think that's where like the C tier is coming in. It's like they're really bad weapons, but they do one thing kind of well. The Ravager does one thing kind of nice, where if you fully charge it up, it leaves like an area of effect fire on the ground. So that can kind of keep people off of you or off of a point even just for a second or do some damage while your team's fighting. But other than that, I have never used this. I've tried to spawn in with Fiesta and like actually give it a try, like shooting it, charging it up. The only thing it does is put down that little area of effect fire. When you have that, maybe you can hold a point for like 1 more second before the enemy starts to take it. But I'm going to put it in somewhere in C because it's just, I don't know, man. That little area of effect is good, but other than that, I don't even think I've got a kill with this thing. The next up is going to be the sniper rifle. Gonna go with A. I mean, the sniper rifle, listen, it's the Halo sniper. There's really not much else to say about it. If you're nasty and hit your shots, this thing can be devastating, or you cannot hit a single shot and waste the power weapon of the match, you know? It really just depends on the player. But overall, as a weapon, I mean, that one-shot headshot cross map, it's a one-shot for shield. So if you shoot them in the body, it takes their shield out. At that point, switch to your BR, switch to your Magnum, take them out nice and quick. So you do some really, really big damage with the sniper. I don't think it's S tier just because you kind of have to think and be good with it. You know, the BR, the sword, and the rocket, you don't really have to think. You just use it and you get your kills. Sniper requires some practice. So I'm going to put it at A. Definitely a high A. I mean, it's just it's an absolute game changer weapon. When sniper's on the field and you see that glow and you get hit by it, you know the sniper's on the field. I'm gonna put it at a very high A. You know, you can use it in close range with a no scope melee combo, so maybe it is a little bit better than Needler because it also has the long range and stuff. Definitely a high A. I mean, it's classic. Halo Sniper is always gonna be a high A gun. Now the last 4 weapons that we have are super interesting, man. I've been looking at these and I'm like, I don't know where I'm gonna put any of these. Personally, I want to put the skewer at S. Full bias, I want to put the skewer at S. This is one of my favorite weapons to ever be added to a Halo game. I love it's a giant harpoon gun. Like, that is so badass. But in terms of like its efficiency and utility, I think I'm going to put it, I mean, it is really good, man. It's a one-shot kill if you hit your shots, and it completely torches enemy vehicles, which the sniper does as well. I believe the sniper is just 4 shots and you can blow up an enemy warthog, but the skewer is just 1 or 2. So I'm going to put this, the sniper and the skewer are going together. I've made up my mind, A tier. They both do crazy anti-vehicle damage, and they also are one-shot kills. They can be. So I do think that they're going to be A tier. They require a lot of precision. Again, the rocket launcher and the sword, you don't have to be precise. You just aim at, or you just look at the person's general vicinity and you get the kill. These require some precision. The skewer a little bit more because I feel like the projectile takes longer to get to the enemy. You got to kind of like guess where they're going to be and stuff like that. But with the amount of vehicle damage it does and how good you feel when you hit those skewer shots or those sniper shots, both of them are going to come in at a very high A. Sentinel beam though, I don't know, man, because it is pretty powerful and it has a humongous clip. I think I'm just going to put it at a B. I don't know where in B, but I think it's a solid B. Very accurate. It's literally a laser beam. Big clip, so it doesn't overheat too fast. You can still get that kill before it overheats. The problem with the Sentinel beam is everybody knows where you are. You cannot hide when you're shooting that Sentinel beam because it's just a long blue beam that people just have to trace right back to where you're standing. Then they pop you and you're done. But it could do some serious damage. If you do have it, the clip full, you could probably take down somebody like full health to 0 in one clip, which is really good. Max range, of course, as well. You know, it's cool. It works. Maybe like a very low B. Like the Hydra and this are very low B. Maybe, honestly, maybe even high C. I don't know. Tough, man. It's really, this CB area is really tough because the way I'm trying to figure it out is like, does it do more than one thing half decent? The only thing it does is like range, but it also, at close range, you can burn people down. I don't know. I'll keep it in a low B. I think a B is good. And then we have the shock rifle. This is a very, very interesting weapon. I kind of want to put it in B. I think it belongs in C. The only reason I would bump it up to B is because the one-shot headshot is really, really nice. Okay, let's go Stalker Rifle. Stalker Rifle is going to be the highest C tier weapon. It's good. Got range. I believe it's a 3-shot kill. You can do some serious work with it, but I just don't think it's it. It overheats really fast as well, so you got to pay attention to that. And you really want to lay the shots down because it's a 3-shot kill. And by the time it overheats, the person's running away with no shield, and you're like, ah, I missed out on that. So I think Stalker Rifle is going to go C. It is a really nice long range option. Probably Sentinel Beam. Sentinel Beam and Stalker C. These last 3 are tough. I'm gonna stick true to what I have though. The Shock Rifle, if I literally had a C/B, it would go right in the middle, man. I want to put the Shock Rifle right in the middle only because it doesn't have that. Only because it does have that single shot headshot capability. So I'm gonna put it in B just because it has a one-shot headshot chance. Very low B, and I think, I don't know, man. I'm looking at it. I'm like, is this really that good? Only one F tier. I thought I was going to put a lot of other weapons in F tier. Honestly, when I look at it, what is this? The Ravager or whatever? Maybe this goes in F tier. Maybe. I'm looking at it, man. I think it might. I think these two go in the F tier. Yeah. Okay. This looks a little bit better now. This looks a little more spread out, a little more even. I think this is going to be our official tier list. Halo Infinite, all weapons ranked from S to F. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think. I don't know, man. Like, if you guys want me to, leave a like. I'm going to come back to this in a couple of months as we have more time to play Halo. And I'm going to relook at this and see if I still agree. Because I feel like a lot of this stuff is still new, so we haven't quite figured it out. Because a lot of, like, the new introduced weapons are down at the bottom, I'm seeing. And, you know, the classic Halo weapons are at the top. So maybe that just makes me think that I'm not used to these new weapons, or people aren't in general. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know your tier list down below. Let me know which ones I got wrong and which ones you agree with. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see y'all in the next one.